So as you guys know, what's been going on is the Joe Biden campaign has been facing a lot of scrutiny because basically people are starting to realize that he has dementia. Word is getting out, video evidence is starting to get out. And so what they've decided to do in response is let's up the volume of Joe Biden's appearances on CNN and doing live streams and stuff to increase the amount of content so that there isn't the "Where is Joe?" and then when he comes on, there's like a 5-minute clip that everyone easily can jump onto. So that's their game plan, okay? They want to just put out so much content that you can't fight back, basically. So that's why it's important to comb through the content. But Joe Rogan, as you guys know, said he was going to vote for Bernie Sanders, which is sort of a, I guess, light endorsement. And I don't know if he ended up voting for him or not. He never fully confirmed it. I'm going to assume he did. He was a Bernie supporter. And Joe Rogan had sort of gone away from politics after the massive controversy that had happened. So what you're about to see right now is Joe Rogan going through some of Joe Biden's gaffes and basically explaining that he says Trump is going to eat him alive. Check this out.
But you have to be able to call out shit that's wrong on your side. And this is one of the problems that the Democratic Party's having right now with this Joe Biden guy. You guys got to be able to call it out. You can't let this slide because everybody else sees it, and Trump is going to eat him alive. He's going to eat that guy alive. The guy can barely remember what he's talking about while he's talking.
Do you know which one it was? Because there's a few videos.
There's a few
around.
of them.
Yeah.
Play any of them. They're all crazy. Every video of him recently talking, he's stumbling through shit. He forgets what he's talking about.
We should be making those masks. We should be moving on those ventilators. We can do that. Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
You know,
I guess,
Donald
but
Trump
I
was
really
asked on.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
he's done.
No, probably best I don't.
He's like Junior Soprano before he shot
Yeah.
down. Look at him.
It's not. That's not even the worst example. That's just an example. The one down there when he's talking to that lady, I think that one was a struggle too. That was a struggle fest.
Recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what. We know what has to be done. We know you have to...
Would reassess the recommended period.
Yeah, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about when he's talking. And this is not like this. I'm looking at this like a medical condition. Okay? I'm looking at this like, okay, when I'm calling a fight and I see a guy limping, and I'm like, I think he hurt his knee. Like Thiago Santos against John Jones. I think he hurt his knee there. I think there's something going on with his knee. Like, that's what I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this like this is a medical issue. That's not a normal way to communicate.
So that's a pretty big deal. Now, Joe Rogan also, just a couple of weeks ago, I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago, max, Joe Biden was basically, he laughed at this clip of Joe Biden. It's funny. It's really not that funny because it's scary, honestly, that Joe Biden is currently on pace to be the Democratic nominee. But he played the clip of Joe Biden where it was one of his gaffes, and he was laughing at it. You know, he used to make fun of it. And so it's important for Joe Rogan to voice his opinion on these kinds of things and shine light on issues like this. And I hope that, my hope is that Joe Rogan will be even more immersed in this process, because we really do need Joe Rogan to sort of come in to talk about this stuff. I think it's very important. He has a big voice. He's very well known. He's got a lot more influence than he thinks. He's like the most popular podcaster in the world. Everybody knows Joe Rogan. So it's really crucial that he does it, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed that he kind of shied away from it. But what I thought I'd do here is I just wanted to pull up. This is just from, I believe this is just from the past like 24 hours, 24, I think max 48 hours for the past 1 to 2 days. I've got 3 gaffes alone here from Joe Biden. So let's go ahead and check this one out.
And our Secretary of State insisted, and this broke the meeting up basically in terms of her influence, that this be called the Wuhan virus.
So,
and
as you guys just heard there, Joe Biden, the person who's on pace to be the Democratic nominee currently, He called it the Wuhan virus. This is the guy who's supposed to lead the CV response. This is our guy who's going to lead the response. Seriously, this is the guy who's going to do it. It's truly remarkable to me, man. It's really crazy. Now, here's another one, this time on CNN.
And when you don't have it, you got to get help. And by the way, it's not going to get my point, but anyway, those who've been through that, you can contact my campaign. I'm happy to try to talk to you. Yeah.
So that one was really weird. Again, this common theme, this commonality that you see within Joe Biden videos when these gaffes happen, it's like his brain is trying to compute, but it can't really do it. So a lot of times what'll happen is he'll go through multiple thoughts without actually finishing any singular thought. So he'll go through the process of explaining like 10 different things, 10 separate thoughts, but he'll never finish one. So one will be like 75% computed, but he's already jumping to the next one. It's like, wait a second, you haven't finished your thought yet. And so what you see here is his brain is just at a block. And so it comes to something, he's like, no, I don't want to do this. And then he like goes into this awkward mode of like silence. And so I'm struggling to understand, was Joe Biden really just about to give out his phone number? Like, is that what he's saying? He was about to give out his personal cell phone number to people to call him, to talk to him about what they're going through. I find that hard to believe, but if he was actually going to do that, he's insane. I don't know if he was going to do the text Joe to 30330 thing, or he said go to Joe 330 or some crap like that, 30330. It was a massive failure, as you guys remember at the debate. But if that's really what he was, going to do, that's pretty insane. And then so he backs away from that, backpedals, and then it comes off as this super awkward moment where it's just like, look.
And when you don't have it, you got to get help. And by the way, it's not going to get my point, but anyway, those who've been through that, you can contact my...
I also find Anderson Cooper's lack of response to be weird, and I actually find it to be telling. I'm thinking that like someone's in his earpiece at CNN, they're probably telling him, try to, basically to not to react is what I'm guessing. Because that stone cold look where he doesn't even seem to change his face is pretty insane. And there's even another one here. This one's pretty insane as well. This one actually might be the most worrisome of them all, actually. Has the potential for it, for sure.
But there's a lot more. For example, I think there's more we're going to have to do as we go down the line here. But we're going to, for example, additional checks to families should be conditions should be required. But I think there's a minimum of. Anyway, I won't go into all that. Let me just deal with your specific.
So my analysis of that specific instance is he's trying to say something. He's reached a sort of brain block, if you will, sort of a block in his brain. And then he's like, you know what, I can't do this. Abort mission, failure, let's just move on quickly. That's what that seems like to me. And so this one might be the most worrisome because he's literally reading off of notes, guys. He's reading off of notes. And so if you have notes and you can't form a coherent thought, you're not even going off the cuff anymore. You're literally reading off of notes. How on earth are you going to be president of the United States, let alone the Democratic nominee to try to fend off Donald Trump? By the way, one of those videos that you just saw, I think it was the Wuhan one, that's literally being used by Donald Trump, like the Trump campaign. Like literally, it's like the Trump campaign account. So it's, to Joe's point, they're basically already doing this. And so the most important thing coming from Joe is that not only is it important for him to do these these critiques or criticisms, but they're on the money is the point. And it's true that there's a lot of sort of ammunition for the Trump campaign against Joe Biden. There really is. And so there is a what's going on is they've got the Hunter Biden Burisma stuff, which Democrats will sort of swat away that situation. But the truth is that Joe Biden himself has been corrupt for decades, ever since he was in the Senate, where he wrote the bankruptcy bill for the credit industry. But he's been incredibly corrupt all throughout his career. Hunter Biden got a transportation seat in the government because he rode trains. He rode a lot of trains. I'm not kidding you. That's literally a quote from the person who vetted him. They chose Hunter Biden over a woman who had like 12, 20 years of experience or 15 years of experience or something insane like that because he rode a lot of trains. So there's a lot of corruption going on. And so you got the corruption stuff, you got the Hunter Biden stuff, and you got all that, which are very real things, by the way. Just like all the Clinton scandals were very real, these ones are very real. And so, in a big way, this could really just be a repeat of 2016. Joe Biden can't even speak. He has dementia. And so there's that whole thing as well. And so there's just so much to use against Joe Biden, and then all of the things that Bernie has rightly criticized him for. Social Security cuts, Medicare cuts, all that stuff. Trump is going to use that against him as well. So there's so much stuff to be used against Joe Biden. It's silly to choose Joe Biden. And so Rogan's right. It is important for Democrats to call that out. And that's why you need to go with Bernie Sanders, because all of the problems lie with one candidate, and that is Joe Biden right now. So, the solution is not to try to skeet under the rug all of the things that are wrong with Joe Biden. The answer is to choose the correct candidate, which is Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton supporters like to blame Bernie Sanders for the reason as to her losing and saying, oh, the reason why Trump's crooked comment about Hillary went off was because of Bernie Sanders laying the groundwork. But that's because she was corrupt. And so if you don't want your candidate to be called corrupt, rightfully so, pick the candidate who's not corrupt. That's the solution. Not for there to not be legitimate criticisms that are true. The answer is pick the effing candidate who's not corrupt. It's very obvious. So in this scenario, you've got a candidate who's corrupt as hell, and also, in addition to that, has dementia. And so the answer isn't to be like, no, don't bring up the dementia or the corruption. The answer is vote in the candidate. Choose the candidate who's not corrupt, okay, and does not have dementia. That simple answer. I know that may be tough for a lot of people to understand, but it's a pretty damn simple answer, man. And Joe Rogan straight up on the money on this one. And I sincerely hope that he does this more, because he's an important voice in politics right now, and he could certainly help out the movement quite a bit. And his criticisms often are pretty much on the money.